Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 4, Episode 3, where we watch Diesel Brothers. Season 4, Episode 1, I'm Chris Lorenz.
Hey, this is James.
Robert Kitts.
General Motors V8 Duramax.
Oh, very well
That's
played.
pretty good.
Thanks.
Pretty
That
good.
was a solid max.
Rob, hit us up with the show description on this one.
In the world of diesel vehicles, no one has more fun or builds bigger, badder trucks than Heavy D, Diesel Dave, and their crew at Diesel Sellers. Their mega builds and awesome truck giveaways are the stuff of diesel legend. Diesel Brothers follows the team at Diesel Sellers as they trick out trucks, work hard, and play harder in the process. Starting off their business buying used or broken down trucks and tricking out for sales, Heavy D and Diesel Dave have used the internet social media as marketing tool to share their best pranks and stunt driving. Millions of hits later, Diesel Sellers have become the destination for diesel lovers looking for tricked out trucks, crazy stunts, pranks, and hilarious antics. That's Diesel Brothers on Discovery Network.
Those
That was a great read,
Impressive.
Rob.
Yeah.
I am laughing because as you got about halfway through, I just started imagining like drink on every time you say diesel. And then you really just ended it just stellar.
Pretty good stuff.
The words Diesel, Brothers, and Sellers are in here quite a number of times.
They really like to get in. They're all in on the diesel.
So one
Theme.
key clarification that does not come over audio: Diesel Sellers is spelled Sellerz.
Capital Z.
obviously you have a Z for sellers, obviously.
That's their website too, right? Where they
That
sell
is their
trucks
website.
or
It's
whatever.
like this show description was half just advertisement for their website.
Diesel Brothers at Diesel Sellers.
So I
with
think
a
this is
Z.com.
a first of a kind of reality show we've really done, which is like the custom motorcycle
it's totally
shop.
Orange County Choppers.
Yeah. But we haven't done a show like that.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
So like,
I mean, there's one show we did that's kind of like this show. Not exactly, though.
yeah.
They even mentioned that show on this show, which is Pimp My Ride.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was going to be more Pimp My Ride, but it ended up being more like
Yeah.
the Chopper show.
Yeah.
So it's essentially they get a job to do something crazy and they do it. And it's unclear how they get the job or what the job is about really. And in this episode, they kind of start the season-long project of they have this bus that they're turning into a monster truck bus so that they can go from like point A to point B through water, sand, and
Dirt.
mud,
All that
Mud.
jazz.
and salt.
Salt water. Because it's
It's
the Great Salt Lake. It's got a
Yeah.
lot of salt.
So that's project one.
Why does it have so much salt, Rob?
Because it has no natural outlets.
All
There
right,
you go.
all right.
And as the water evaporates, we learned something on this show.
We did.
This is a very educational show. I'm sorry this wasn't on History Channel.
we just didn't learn about history, Rob. We just learned.
That's true.
So then the second, actually, this episode-wide project was Muscle and Heavy D have a gym bro that brought his truck in, and they turned an F-250 into some sort of Raptor rally car by doing fucking nuts things to it. I don't. We can get into. We can get.
Chris was really hanging in like he knew what he was doing there, and then it just
Yeah.
flew apart.
I mean,
at
I
the
can
end.
tell you they add new suspension. They give it like 46-inch tires. They do like give it fiberglass and make it lighter. They do a bunch of shit. We talk about it, but like then the rest of the show is just kind of antics around those two projects.
Yeah.
So that is like what and our brief description. Now we can get into the minutia, Rob. The minutia.
That definitely is like what the show is. Like at its core, though, right? It's like a few guys. They're working on these trucks, and they're getting projects, and they're just kind of showing you how to do some of this stuff. And then there's just a bunch of antics like in between it to kind of fill the dead air time.
Yeah.
And then I think what's interesting with these is like they've obviously built into this like persona. So I feel like we got to describe these characters a little bit. They are all in on the like skull logos, beards, long hair if you can grow it, like working out, everyone is like giant bodybuilder type dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How else?
Each
What else
dude-
am I missing?
Each dude is interchangeable with every other dude.
That was actually one of the skits that
Yeah.
we'll get into the minutia of, but yeah, like these beards are very similar, like humongous bearded guys. Yeah,
One guy looks a lot like Tormund's from Game of Thrones.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, the guys are nuts. I think that they I feel like they all have their own character, but you have to watch more. Like, they don't look all that different. I think is very clear. Like,
it's
I
hard
don't
to
even
tell
think,
them apart.
I don't think Diesel Dave was even in this episode.
Isn't Diesel Dave the guy who sits with Heavy D all the time?
Yeah, I mean, he was
he's
in
a
the
bunch.
he was in the confessionals,
but
but
he was definitely in a whole bunch.
okay. I don't-
Like he was usually the guy with muscles working on the truck.
No, that was Heavy D.
At some point, Heavy D got in, but before that, Diesel Dave was there a bunch.
Heavy D is the guy that he like wore his jacket and his hat.
Yeah. No, that's definitely Heavy D.
I just don't remember Diesel Dave being involved in this project at all.
Diesel Dave was the one who actually dressed up as a raptor.
Yeah, but that's not part of the episode. That's not part of the episode.
I mean, it was in the episode. I saw it.
Well, you could tell me what Diesel Dave was in because I
All right.
I don't think so. So they first intro the show, and they come in. This one guy has this project. He wants to like move people from point A to point B because they just bought an island.
This
Yeah.
part
In the
was
Sin-
quite
Salt-
ridiculous.
Salt Lake.
We
In the
bought
Salt
the
Lake.
third largest island in the Great Salt Lake or something. I'm like,
Yep.
what?
Yeah, and so
Like
they
a
wa-
3,000 square foot island, and I guess they're gonna throw. It's like a fire festival kind of situation where
It's definitely a fire festival.
they're gonna throw
Why-
some kind of party on
why
this
do you-
island and have to chauffeur people to and from on some kind of hodgepodge put together custom rigged school bus.
This totally sounded made up.
why?
It's like
Why do you have to bring up Fire Festival? This Fire Festival was like a complete failure. How do you know this island thing is going to be a complete failure?
I don't know what's gonna happen on the island, but like you can just picture it. It's a similar like, oh, there's an island. They gotta figure out some kind of, and somebody's like, okay, we got this island. How are we gonna get people to the island? They're like, shit, I have no idea. I know a couple of these Diesel Brother guys on TV though. They're gonna build us a school bus and put some like monster truck tires on it so we can get people to and from this thing and equipment.
was it like we need to get people to and fro. We need to get equipment to and fro. We need one vehicle that's going to do all of this. It's like, what? Why don't you get two vehicles? One for the equipment, one for the people.
It's a great
And, like,
question.
I bought this island and I just have concerts on it. It's like, what? Like,
So,
this definitely sounded like made up of like,
It was
okay,
yeah.
get a guy who doesn't have a beard, who's in a nice shirt to come in and seem like he's a rich guy with a problem, and then we're just gonna trick out this bus. Like, that's what
This definitely felt like they needed some, like they had this bus and they're like, what the hell are we going to do with this bus? It's going to be our season long project, but we need some reason to like make a crazy bus. They're like, what do you got?
it's true. They also said the budget for this was $75,000. Like what? And how are they renovating this bus for $75,000? Like those monster truck tires got to cost like 10 grand. Like they feel like we talk cost like a huge amount of money.
That's why they need the connection.
The smaller tires that they used on the sort of B story project, those were 1,000 a piece, and they were nowhere near as big as the bus's tires. So let's say each tire is going to be like $2,000.
And these were like custom tires. They had to be like to not affect the environment tires, which I don't really know. It's all about the weight of that vehicle and like spreading it out across. I thought they were going to do like some sort of tank kind of setup.
I really enjoyed when they're like, oh yeah, we need to try to do minimal environmental impact, not no environmental impact, just minimal.
There's no way these guys haven't done like roll coal. Do you know what that is? Where you like fuck up your diesel truck in a way that it just billows black smoke out of it.
Oh, I've
Rolling
definitely
coal.
seen that happen. I don't know what causes it.
These guys don't give a fuck about the environment. Ain't no goddamn way.
Definitely not.
Yeah, but their client does.
Fair.
So they kind of care.
I guess.
They don't really care. So as they enter this bus, one of the guys comes in. I don't know the guy's name. He's like, I used to live on that bus. So many good times on that bus. And then they do this like MTV Cribs kind of thing.
They
That was-
mentioned it
They
by
mentioned
name.
Cribs,
yeah.
yeah.
They're like, we gotta cribs
Ready for
show off
cribs?
This, yeah.
Yeah.
ready to show the
You
crib or
think
something.
MTV can get some money out of that? Like, you can't use Cribs. It's us.
It's
I don't
probably
know.
fun.
Is
It was great,
Discovery
though. I
and MTV
really-
owned by the same people?
No. Oh,
Maybe. But I'll
Where's
go
our
to the internet corner.
when you need them. Mishinoa. What I love though is when they not only do they mention MTV's Cribs, they start doing the cinematography in the style of MTV's Cribs. They're doing
Yeah,
the
that was
zoom
the best
in,
part.
They're getting the music going. They're like doing the zoom in, zoom out, like multiple takes. It was great.
And then shortly after that, like the same guy, he's like, they do this montage of him driving the bus where he was like, yeah, I remember driving this bus so many miles, so many miles. And it's like, just like Snapchat emoji sticker over people and this crazy montage of like 18 different shots and like weird animations.
It's
I
like the
don't
classic,
understand
like,
what's going on.
they want like like a lot of shows will be like, oh, you're tripping on drugs or LSD or something. This is what that's like, and it was like this style, right? Like crazy sticker art.
Oh, that was
like
fucking
animations.
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't like wave the screen like you'd expect or something like that, but it's very like just like out there. It's like he tried to imitate like you were dead tired driving and you're just kind of out of it, but like in video form.
There's a bunch of shit that this show did that was just kind of weird. And it's interesting because it kind of just broke it up a little bit. I feel like
I definitely
And
have
they
some
totally-
of those right
yeah.
now.
they totally knew it was just fluff.
Yeah,
And-
but it was
and,
fun.
Like, they're like, whatever, we're just gonna have fun with this.
I mean, for two of those, I have some of them. There was a remade Dumb and Dumber scene later in the show that was pretty funny.
From the toenail clippers where they have to bust out the belt sander because his nails are so hard. They're just
Yeah.
doing that. That was a great one.
And then they had like Jurassic Park come out. Like the dude was sitting in the kitchen against the wall, and this raptor comes in and like tries to scare the kid. Those were really good. I really like those like kind of pop culture references. That was fun.
There was
I,
a pop culture reference that I didn't fully understand. So at one point, I think it's Diesel Dave talking to Muscles. Diesel Dave says, "I'm the puzzle master." So Muscles says, "What am I?" And he tells him, "You can be Macaulay Culkin." Says, "Do I have to be?" It's like, "You could be Whoopi Goldberg." It's like, "Okay, cool. I'd rather be Whoopi." I did not follow that at all.
I did not as well. And I believe I asked during if anyone else in the room did. And we are still stunned, I think.
So
don't get it.
there's a Macaulay Culkin movie called The Page Master, not the Puzzle Master.
Did they just get it wrong?
I think so.
Is Whoopi also in the Page Master?
No,
Is Whoopi and Macaulay Culkin in any of the same
not that I know of.
pieces of art?
I don't know. Maybe it's a callback to earlier
I don't know.
seasons.
Man, Diesel Brothers. I don't know what the reference was, but you really threw us through the
I was
loop here.
definitely thinking Page Master when they said that.
I mean, maybe they were too, but then I don't know where Whoopi Goldberg came from.
I agree. I have no idea.
Oh, Whoopi Goldberg does have a cameo in The Page Master.
Oh, okay. There you go.
There you go. This
Deep
is some
cuts.
deep Page Master
That's
reference.
a deep freaking cut. No one even knows what Page Master is. It's a mediocre kids movie from 1994.
I've definitely never heard of it. And
There-
it makes me also question like the audience of this show. Like who is the audience of this show, firstly?
The only reason I know Page Master is because I had the video game. Like I had the Genesis Page Master video game. And it was terrible at it.
I think Page Master is half cartoon. I think Whoopi Goldberg's only a voice in the cartoon part.
All right. I don't know what it's like Southern people like
People like in the trucks.
yeah, people into trucks and monster trucks and
I mean that
Manly men
seems like what I would have
with
assumed.
beards. I don't know.
This show does like I've definitely have stumbled through some like on like the Speed Network or whatever randomly like some truck garage shop show or whatever.
It wasn't
Um,
this show.
It definitely wasn't this, but I think that's what's interesting is that like this was a lot more I feel like just approachable to the like general audiences.
Yeah.
Where like it didn't feel like I'm like, oh, I don't know, he's just spending an hour repairing the like transmission. And I'm like, I don't know anything about like that particular thing. And then next episode is whatever. Whereas like they kind of like it's a little bit light, but like tidbits of stuff along the way.
It's
And
a
at the
very
same time, yeah.
It's a very good balance. They had a lot of like actually pretty good like demonstrative animations to sort of show you what they were going to be doing.
Oh, I like that part where they're sort of like the sketchbook style.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
here's
yeah.
what we're gonna do, and then like the tires fly away, and they're like, okay, we're gonna put in some 62-inch rims, or no, 62-inch tires. Sorry, that'd be crazy rim size. And then like
They
we're
might
gonna
have
rip
done it.
away the floor railings, whatever. We're gonna do all this stuff. I do like that piece,
They
but I
did-
feel like it's appreciative of like if you're super into trucks, it seems like you could still like watch the show, and just the same as like if you're not really that into it,
Yeah.
but can somewhat appreciate, then like you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
They definitely in those animations did a really good job of like screen shake and hitting with like some bass while they were like, oh, the tires are going here, and they would just like shake the screen, just like pop the animation. It was done very well.
It
Yeah.
also had some flames in those animations.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
It was very good. I like the animations.
Oh man, I just realized, did we do this in the wrong month? Because there's normally like a truck month.
We're
Where
not
trucks are
doing
on
truck
sale.
month.
What's
No.
truck month?
Truck month is when all the trucks go on sale.
Are you talking
All
about
right.
Toyotathon?
That's another thing. That's a brand specific.
All right. Do you guys want to talk about the beast? Well, let's talk about the B side here for a minute.
B plot.
All
The
right.
people.
So they got this Mythbusters style thing where, you know, they got the main project and then they got that side project that like the characters you don't care about are working on. And it's definitely way less exciting than the main project. Yeah.
I mean, so like this is teed up with our boy Muscle shows up with somebody, I don't know, with his gym buddy, quote unquote, with a like look like kind of like a new truck, and like some parts.
Well, clearly
It
it
was
was
like
a
part-
new truck with some pieces taken off of it.
Yeah.
Well, he tried to do it, right? Like he said, like,
That's
yeah,
what
I
they
bought a bunch of
said.
this
I
stuff and I
don't-
was gonna do it, but then I just, wasn't getting around to it. Blah blah blah. Can you just do this for me?
I don't think that there's ever like a thing where you like, let me trick out my own truck and then just not spend time doing it.
No, that's definitely a thing. I've definitely have met people that have been like, yeah, I'm gonna get this bumper, I'm gonna put this thing on, then they get the stuff and they're like, oh man, I only have so much time on the weekends and whatever, and then just never do it.
I mean, this seemed like a big job. I don't know if you go into this knowing
what
like,
what he ended up with for sure, but he was not gonna build the same truck. Like, let's be clear. He's not building what these like
He
professional.
wasn't going to build that.
right. Like he was basically gonna slap a custom bumper and a couple things on. Like it seemed approachable.
all right.
I give him it was
it
approachable.
just seems like a lot to do to your truck by yourself.
Oh, I agree. And-
Regardless, like the
but like I
whole-
think that's why he like went to these people.
so like the truck, they get it. The like, there's no hood and there's no like the whole back piece is like off.
Yeah, there's no truck bed.
There's just no truck bed. There's nothing. So it's just like you took that stuff off. Like to put that stuff back on is gonna be a pain in the butt. So maybe at that point it's just like, oh fuck it.
Yeah, I think it's just like fuck. I'm over like working on this. I don't have the time. Let me just
Whatever.
pay these guys $25,000 and it'll just trick it out for me.
Yeah. So he comes in, gets his budget, and Muscle tells him like, hey, we'll go in, we'll do your thing for you. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then Heavy D comes back, and Heavy D is the one that usually finds the people, I guess. So there was this like huge montage around like Muscle being the new Heavy D, which I thought was amusing, even though I have no idea what's going
It was
on.
funny.
And then Heavy D is also fans with this guy or buds with this guy. He's like, no, we're not going to do the standard build here. We're going to give him more suspension. We're going to give him higher tires. We're going to really increase the horsepower. We're going to like really tricking this car out. And then there's this whole like back and forth between Muscle and Heavy D the whole episode.
The other guy is like, so your idea is take my idea but add bigger tires, and the guy's like, yeah.
That was a great cut.
Every idea in this show is like, what if we had bigger tires?
It's definitely seems like everything they do are like, well, we got 40-inch tires. If we only have 46, we got to get a new suspension.
Yeah. Let's get that Nas coil suspension on that bitch.
New
Custom
suspension.
fabricated roll cages.
Did they put a roll cage in
No.
that truck?
They did not. Chris asked during if they put a roll cage when they so spoilers, they test drive this truck in the end. Fast forward, right? They build the truck. It's really cool. They go show it out. They bring it to this
Yeah.
guy in the desert. Like, cool. Everybody knows that Raptors are for piling over sand dunes because everyone knows, okay, of course. And so like,
I
well,
knew.
we're gonna deliver this truck in the desert. They go for a ride. They show them to him. They're coming bussing over like a dune. They got shots of it. And then there's more debate still of like what the like situation. There's like some side debate of like which host is gonna reveal the truck and whatever. It's kind of irrelevant, but it's like kind of just the funny skit of the thing. And then they show the dude the truck. He's real pumped. He makes a big deal.
Well, at
about it
first,
being
he
very
seemed
tall.
shocked. He was like,
That's
"This
a
was
lot of
not
truck."
what I expected."
Oh,
and like
yeah.
that truck was definitely way taller than he was planning for. But then once he actually got to drive it, he was pretty pumped.
I think he was into it, but like I agree at first. He was like, "Whoa, you guys really did a lot here." Because like I thought when we last talked, you were just gonna like put that bumper and a truck bed on and maybe some biggish tires. But then they custom painted it. They had like lights and a roof rack. They had this custom thing in the back, like all done up. They had these insane, ginormous tires on it.
It definitely felt like a Pimp My Ride. Like
It was
spot.
big. It was a big.
That's the
time.
type of thing where like Muscles was like, "Oh, he's gonna give us 25,000 to this. We're gonna make a lot of money. This is not too hard." And then Heavy D comes in. He's like, "We got 25,000 to do this. Let's do it."
Which I don't get how they're making money in this show, and I think we should get into it. Which is they show like the how much money they got, what the profit was, and then they show the profit. And I'm pretty sure we all look at each other, but like on this $25,000 truck job they just did, they only profited $1,100.
Yeah, they're on a TV show.
They were on a TV show, I get it, but like I'm just saying, like I don't know how many hours they put in that thing, but I guarantee you it was more than like one dude for a day. And I don't know what kind of rates they're doing, but that just does not seem like enough money to justify.
Well, I think the
level of
prices
work they're doing.
include
Like all the
their
TV
labor
stuff
and
and
Yeah.
the
So
prices include labor.
I think they agreed on the price before the other guy took it over and made it more expensive.
Oh, 100%.
oh yeah, but which is to Rob's point, like why would you do that if you're a business?
It's a TV show.
Because it's
Yeah.
it's his
'Cause it's a
gym
fake,
buddy.
like-
Also,
The
could-
ones they do for the TV show are the lost leaders to kind of, make a point and then get other like normal business or just make the TV show better to get more money through the TV show. Like, I
Yeah,
don't think
I s-
that's their normal profit margin,
right.
calculus.
Right, like this isn't the normal bar. I guess what I'm trying to think back is like Orange County Choppers or those kinds. Like they must do all this like the same way, right?
Yeah.
Like it's all just for an advertisement, whatever.
Well, as they intro to the show, they're like, even our giveaways, like, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess like they give away stuff. Like it's just part of the show. It's part of the show's budget to give these things cheaper. Just like when you go on Below Deck Mediterranean, you get a cheaper deal on this yacht because you're like on TV.
But it seems to me like if you wanted to watch the show, and you were, I could see one type of viewer being like, oh, I'm real into trucks. I'm thinking about maybe, getting some kind of truck or fixing my truck up or something. Maybe I should like get a feel for like what the bar is for some of these things, but you have no way to know. Like how much do these things cost?
You go on
can't do it.
dieselsellers.com and you look it up.
And you're like, but then you just know, well, if I tell you 25 grand, you're just going to blow 25
That's-
grand on a bunch
that's-
of insane shit.
Also, I think there's a thing here where like, okay, you tell your buddy, right? I'll fix up your truck for 25 grand, but then you turn around to the camera and be like, we're gonna make so much money on this. Like that just seems like very disingenuous. So like, I think you did a solid there.
I mean,
I
the
haven't-
one dude who's like, he's also my buddy, is like, I'm going to spend his money and get him an awesome truck versus just like taking the profit.
Yeah.
Is what
Like
you're- yeah.
the dude was like, I'm taking that 25 grand no matter what. But like, I'm not gonna do the work that, up to 25 grand.
Mm.
So I don't know. I don't think it's a TV show. I wouldn't believe any of the prices on this thing.
Yeah.
Again, it's 75 grand to do that fucking bus. Could you imagine rolling up to them in their studio and be like, I want you to make that bus my bus. Like this, you made a bus. We're
No.
gonna get over here. 75 grand. There's no way.
I couldn't imagine
Absolutely
walking
not.
into a business and going, okay, I have this problem that I need to chauffeur some amount of people and equipment to this island. What can you like deliver to me that will do that? I have 75 grand. Because like you could get a lot of shit for 75 grand. Like I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what you can
just
get
don't
that
know
would
if, like,
do
you-
that for 75 grand.
That's what I mean. Like I don't like they're getting a whole vehicle out of this thing.
yeah.
like,
They're
custom
they're
built,
not even
like, it's
coming in with a
wild.
bus.
Right.
Like the bus is theirs. Like that bus alone would cost it's a running bus like 10 grand.
Wonder what they paid for that
Well,
bus.
Yeah, but that's like it doesn't matter what they paid for, it's what you could sell it for.
Right. No,
They're
totally.
just selling the whole kit and caboodle for 75. And like I just couldn't imagine I couldn't imagine calling in a business or anything and they'll just laugh at you.
Well,
Like, okay.
I don't know. You call this place up and be like, I got this unique problem. They're like, oh, we got this TV show,
Got a couple of these gigantic monster truck tires sitting around that we got to get rid of, and a bus. I don't know. We could probably work some out.
Yeah, I don't know. It definitely feels like the producers might have made this whole thing up.
Yeah.
But if you did have this problem and you like the show, like you could definitely reach out to them and be like, yo, I got this problem great for your show. This is a problem that is great for this show. So like I can't like fault them if that was like them. But like it is also kind of weird to fare them to this island. Like, is the water always like low enough for you to get to the island with this thing? Like, you know, you are 5 feet and you're 5 feet up. So like presumably, but I don't know.
Some kind of fire festival where you
Like-
get the people out on the
like-
island, you can't get them back.
Like, do you go on low tide? Like you're there for 12 hours, no matter what. Oh, we came in, you know, at midnight. Now you got to leave at 1. Like the next day, it's there's some logistics that they haven't really gone over. I'd
you looking
love
for
to
There's no
see
low
like-
tide, high tide.
what.
It's a Salt Lake. There's no low tide, high tide.
Oh,
I don't
you're
think
right.
that's correct though. Isn't there? There could still be some kind of tide, right?
There's usually pretty small slide on like lakes, but yeah, you're right.
I
I
guess it
guess I'm
depends
thinking more ocean. So you're right. Salt Lake. I got confused. Thanks, Max.
You got,
Before
gotta
we got
keep
all
you
those,
honest.
before we got all those emails correcting us.
Yeah, all of them.
Max is on the email game. Does anyone else have any minutia that they'd like to talk about?
Why is his name Heavy D?
I don't know, dude.
Why not?
Just what is the D here?
Diesel.
Oh, okay. Just making
Not
sure.
not the D you're thinking about, Max.
Dodos.
Yes. I have a couple small things. So this show had one of what Noah would definitely knock the show for. A lot of recaps.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of like, we need to build this bus because there's a mud, sand, and water. Like, it's-
5 times.
like after every commercial break, they're like, we're making this bus. We know you're making the goddamn bus. Like in the age of streaming, you don't really need it. Stop.
That's true.
Yeah, I think this just again falls in that category of show that's just like it's one of those shows that's just on and you're flipping through the channels and you catch in for 15 20 minutes and that's what they're banking on. So they're constantly recapping, they're constantly going over what's going to be coming up next. It goes deep. Not a fan for streaming, or if you're even just an avid watcher of the show, right? Like
Yeah.
unless you're just the casual channel flipper, I don't get that
Yeah,
point.
it doesn't really help. I guess another thing that we didn't really talk about was this guy that was designing the chassis of the bus. So like there's this segment where they're like, oh, they have to design a custom chassis, and there's this dude that does it. And he's new to the show, essentially. And it's like a nuts chassis. Like they're like adding this whole new
They
Frame-
go very deep into like chassis engineering. I felt like, or at
I
least
don't know if they
not
did
deep, but like they at least there was a bit on it, which
Yeah.
was trying to explain like basics of engineering. I
as
felt like
as deep as I'd ever expect, but
Right.
very shallow.
Basically, it's to the equivalent of like, well, you got to have triangles because that's the like most structural like shape for this. Like
there
that's
wasn't
the
a whole
extent
lot
we're
of
getting
triangles
into.
in that thing, though.
I know, and this is the example.
I'm not sure. I'm not
it's
sure.
minutia, Chris.
Yeah, we're talking about the.
You're getting
minutia.
an engineering minutia though.
That's fair.
that's a hard shape to fabricate at that size.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I just not sure I trust this guy to be making this big of a chassis.
It's fine. You weld it together. It's fine. It's structurally sound.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
I'm with Chris though. I'm definitely questioning like what's the road test on this thing.
Like,
hopefully
this
it
guy-
doesn't fly apart.
Is this guy just playing Polybridge and like he's like, oh, this looks good in Polybridge. This is gonna work on this giant bus.
I just imagine they build this thing and then you get it out there and you're like, well, chassis just flew apart. Who are you gonna call? I don't know, those Diesel brothers. Like
We're in the middle of the Salt Lake.
we're in the middle of a freaking lake. Like I don't know.
I have a question. Why didn't they just build a hovercraft?
Because then you can't go on land.
Yeah, you
What-
can.
What about mud?
Hovercrafts can
But-
do all of that.
Yeah, that is true. That's how hovercraft.
I don't know if you're allowed to have a hovercraft wherever it is they are.
I want to drive a hovercraft.
It's pretty loud.
It
It's not
seems
good
like
for
a
the
real
environment.
plane
Here's
to
the problem
drive.
with hovercrafts. You can't put monster truck tires on your hovercraft.
Oh, that's true.
It's true.
I
But I
made
mean,
I
it's
made a
just
mini
gotta-
hovercraft in high school.
it's got a big like rubber thing around the side, which is basically one big giant monster truck tire.
Oh,
How much do you think one of those
Chris, you
costs?
did?
Yeah. We used the shop vac and we like,
That's cool.
it was pretty fun.
Wow.
It
It seems like those are like a hovercraft is more expensive than, let's say, an airboat.
Oh, totally.
Like airboat, I feel like is the default. Like, okay, low water. Like, here's what you do.
not in this situation. Because if you want to go on land, airboat, no bueno. The hovercraft can go on land.
That airboat can definitely get over some mud.
Yeah, but it can't go on land.
What
Like,
kind of land? Like, I don't like. What kind of land are we talking?
I don't know. What if you want to make an excursion onto the beach?
It's true. The bus like does give you the road option.
The bus gives you almost all the options except for being in the middle of the lake.
Here's a question: do you think this bus is road legal?
I don't know.
I can't imagine it is because like look how lifted it is.
No,
It's got
I mean-
46-inch tires on it.
I mean, I think it's fine.
I don't know what would
Like,
make it.
could-
what are,
No.
what are
Wait,
the
no,
laws on
at some
that?
point, remember in the show, they were discussing, so it was up on some jacks, and they were discussing, like, hey, is this at ride height?
on some
And they're
jacks?
like,
Do you want to
okay, so the more on some jacks was, in order to get this bus, so this bus it's a bus, it's real freaking heavy. It's like, I don't know, 10,000 pounds? So it's some amount of thousands of pounds.
Yes.
And so they don't have any, like, jacks or anything that can, like, lift this sort of weight. So they decide to get some forklifts, which is another fun part of the show where they're just doing fun shit with like construction equipment.
There's a
Like-
surprising amount of forklifts in this show.
Right. They have a lot of equipment just around the facility. So that's fun. So they grab the forklift and they start lifting this bus up from the rear. At which point, like, hey, we got these military tires just lying around. We can grab some of those, put them underneath, and use
Oh,
those as
yeah.
jacks. So they get two sets of two. Like humongous 44-inch like military like wheels, throw those under, put the bus back down and lower it in. Then later though, when they were discussing the ride height thing, because back to that, I can't remember if they were still in the military tires. I thought it was on something else. But
Yeah,
irregardless,
they custom built something.
so they custom built something to hold this bus, and they were discussing like, is this at ride height to try to get a sense of how big the bus was going to be. And then one dude answers, one of the Diesel brothers, oh yeah, it's at 13 and a half feet. This bus is not riding at a 13 and a half foot ride height. And he goes, yeah, that's right under the legal limit to be road legal. But without any other details. So like, I don't have any other clues if like everything else is legit for road limits here, but at least the ride height they did confirm.
U.S. laws are pretty forgiving about like custom stuff.
To some degree, but I know that like if you, let's say, like just do a lift on a truck,
Mhm.
you have to have bumpers and lights at a certain height,
True,
such
yes.
that like a car, you just can't run over a car and kill somebody.
Totally legit.
I mean,
Yeah.
they'll throw bumpers and lights on this guy if they have to.
I'd be pretty intimidated. Like, hey, you're gonna go to this Firefest kind of thing on this island. And you get out of your car, you get wherever they're gonna pick you up, and this thing, and you're looking at this fucking truck. It is double your height just to get in the damn fucking vehicle. It is like you're being on like an airplane, but like you're just manually walking up the airplane instead of like walking out of a terminal. It would be nuts.
Maybe they're gonna have those little stairs that they wheel onto the runway to get onto those buses.
They're definitely gonna have to do something. Like it's gonna be, you got to be able to get in and out of that thing. I wonder if they'll have those. So
electric things.
and the other car, they had like electric like stair. Like trucks have like that stair. They had one that would an electric stair. They didn't explain it, but Max explained what it was.
Folds in, folds out.
When you're moving and not moving, right?
Yeah.
So like maybe it's one of those situations. Like folds
Yeah.
up, fits underneath. I got some other minor minutia things.
Well, we're talking about like the power tools. I did like, or no, I don't know if power tools is the right word, but they had to get something like
yeah, that was the thing.
out of the middle of the tire. Like I don't know exactly what they were doing.
So I could tee you up, but you should totally go into this. Was crazy. So they had to basically try to test some tires for some reason, and so like, okay, what's the closest tire we have to this, just to like get it on there. It's like, oh, we got a couple of these, or we got a set of these 44-inch military tires that are on some sort of like beeline or something, like, which is the rim, and like talking about that'll be important for another reason, which is that these military tires are all run flat tires, and so inside of the tire is like basically a rubber liner, like a rubber like inner tube almost kind of thing, and those are specific, and this tire only works with these custom military beeline rims or what have you. and I think they wanted to use these rims on the Beeline project.
No, they wanted to
something?
use
Or, no,
different
sorry,
rims.
They wanted to use different rims. That's why they couldn't use the tires.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to Rob's thing, which was let's have some fun with some like fucking construction equipment. Is there's like apparently it's really hard to get the rubber outside of this rubber tire because it's rubber on rubber.
Yeah.
It's impossible to get things around and pull it out. So they start like improvising basically, getting forklifts, ropes and chains, all kinds of shit, basically all in attempts to pull this run flat piece
Well, they
out
also have
of the
I don't
tire.
know, like a power shovel kind of tractor thing.
Yeah.
And they get one of those to try to hold the tire down, and they have the forklift with the rope to try to pull it out the middle, and it's not working. They're like, we need a second tractor on each side to hold the tire down on both sides, pulling up, and then the rope broke.
That was
So, like,
amazing.
We gotta use a different material to tie to the thing. And eventually, they pulled it out. But
They
the
got like
craziest
one of
part,
those like tension specific ropes or whatever. But I really liked here, like before they got it out, that like they're like you gotta wiggle it, and so the two like there's a dude in each of these like forklift type vehicles, and they just start like bouncing up and down manually to try to get them to wiggle.
like you could see like the tire was pulling up on the thing, and like it's off the ground. It's so much force. But then Diesel Dave was just standing right beside it. You
Yeah,
think,
I
like,
can't believe we were standing
something's
there.
about to fly out of that thing and just straight decapitate that guy.
I really thought like that whole like the way they were building that up, like that inner tire was gonna shoot out like in a wild fashion. But it didn't really.
it did.
It just kind of slowly came out once they got it. It was weird.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I really thought something crazy was gonna happen.
Another thing they did after this was they got the tractors they were using, and they or a different track. I don't fucking know. They started playing catch with the inner tire thing, and that was really funny. They were just like fucking around with this tire with these two bulldozer type things, and you know,
bulldozer. That's the word I was thinking.
Yeah.
Everybody on the show is like pretty good chemistry.
it's really fun.
It's just them fucking around, and that's okay.
The last minutia thing I have written down is when that dude was designing the chassis, there was another dude like on another computer like designing the whole bus or something. Anyway, they were like chit-chatting like, okay, let's reveal 1, 2, 3, and they turned around and showed each other their computers, and it was just like terrible. Like the drawings are terrible, but they were like really excited.
And hot take, Chris is
They were
ripping
geeking
these
out
out.
so hard over like this chassis that looked like nothing.
The
Yeah,
reactions
it was
were
like
great,
I
Chris.
was
Come
in
on.
paint and I drew some lines together.
I thought the reactions were really
Like,
good.
the
They were both
reactions
so
were
proud. They're
good.
like, "Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty
The
good."
reaction good. The drawings were not impressive. Like when they showed it to us, it's like, oh, okay. And then they're like, oh,
God, you
Like,
see those angles?
The drawing of the bus thing was like that looks exactly like the current bus. I don't know, with big
With
tires.
big tires. The big tires are key.
Just like okay, just take a photo, just put some big tires next to it, you're good to go. Like I don't know, it's just that I thought was really funny.
So
You
I got one last minutia thing. So when this episode started, did anyone else realize that we were not going to see the bus completed during this episode?
yes,
Because it did kind of feel I missed that part. So like it totally when it was like the next time on started rolling, I was like, what? What about
We're
the
not gonna
bus?
see- I don't know if Chris saw it from the episode, but I feel like because we were browsing
Mm.
the episode catalog, that it was clear in a later, like 6 episodes later, the thumbnail was a photo of the bus. And so that was sort of like, wait a minute, so that bus is again? And then it didn't match the description. And I think at which point Chris said, oh, I think this is going to be a season-long project.
Yeah.
yeah, you missed that. The second episode description is like we're
School's
making this
in
bus
session.
thing, and I'm like, oh, it's at least a 2-parter. And then we saw the bus later. I'm like, oh, this is a season long thing. This
Got
is
it.
the selling sunset, selling that $1 million house thing.
Fuck that.
$1 million bus.
I mean, that's what this thing would probably like not cost
No,
that much, but like,
$75K, man. That's all you need.
no way are you buying this bus for $75K. All right. Ratings?
Sure.
Or would the show be better if everyone's sneaking?
No, this show would be horrifying if everyone. There's so many power tools and dangerous things happening. They're playing catch and forklifts.
It was
I
a
don't know, that
rhetorical
seems-
question,
oof,
James.
Oof, no, it really instilled a lot of negative.
Rate me.
All right, Max, what do you got?
If the Megabus were taken care of in 2 episodes, this might even be a top third show. However, it's not. I'm gonna put it middle of the middle. It was charming, but it was a little slow at times.
All right. Rob, what do you got for us?
So I also think this one belongs in the middle. I think there were some things that were pretty good, and like it was pretty entertaining. How the people had good like chemistry and were fun to watch, but there were also just annoying things that kind of held it back a little bit. So I don't know if I'd watch more, but I think some good points and bad points. Solid middle show.
I do want to see the Megabus in action.
You gotta watch the last episode of the season.
Yeah.
James, what do you got for us?
I too will put this right in the middle. I think it's an all-around solid show. There's certainly some things that could be improved, such as the let's reduce the recaps and some of the things we did, some of those negatives. But on the other side, like I think this is a pretty approachable show for most, and like people that are interested in it. It also seems like you could like have a fun conversation with them about and stuff. So yeah, I think it's just pretty solid in the middle. It's enjoyable, but nothing totally spectacular or like earth-changing.
I think I'm going to be the contrarian here.
Okay.
I think this is the top third. I think
Oh,
the
nice.
show was fun. It was funny. I love the characters. I think it was. Let's just take this to the max level. Is really fun concept, and I think it. I agree. It almost gets put in the middle third because of the recaps, but I could definitely see watching more of this as like a side TV content kind of thing, where it's just like, oh, you're doing something funny, and like kind of casually watch it. Which is, more than I can say about most of the shows we watch. And we're out of Love Month, so my love half year. So who knows? Maybe my ratings are just kind of all over the place because I think this is vastly different and vastly better than a lot of the stuff we've been watching.
I mean, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. Yeah, it's fun, but yeah, it's interesting. It's not a love show, which is like I think it's interesting because we've been doing certain genres of things. And I feel like for car shows, this has to be like amongst the top.
We've only ever done.
That's the problem.
we haven't
need
done
to do
that
more
many.
car shows.
Car month?
Karma.
Well, it's like we don't do a lot of travel shows either because like travel or like house hunting or it's like so many of those that we could like spend a year doing just house hunting shows. And like they're basically the same. So it's like which ones do you do? Which ones don't you do? I don't know. I mean, Tiny House Hunters, if you want to.
That was a good one.
That was a good
That
one.
was a hidden gem, I feel like.
I know.
But
I keep wanting to
even
do.
today, we discovered beach hunters, but like we read a description, like, it's just house hunters with like,
Yeah.
but it's beaches.
But we don't do any House Hunter show. Like eventually we should do some.
Tiny House Hunters is a house hunter show.
Yeah, I really like that show. So like,
This is why I fail to see the argument here. It's
We just
because
never
this
do
beach
them.
hunters is the same concept as
Look,
tiny house
I
hunters.
think we can take the what show do we do next offline.
this is the minutia. This is the after dark.
the who put this on behind the scenes minutia. How do we decide on each show?
Hey, these shows are hard to decide on. There are too many.
There's a lot of
So
shows.
many.
Can I bring us to the internet corner about something real quick?
Sure.
Oh, please do.
Should we have a theme song for internet corner?
If we could get a sound, we need to get
I
sound.
got it.
Noah sings the theme song for the corner for sure.
Stay tuned. Boop 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 boop. Boop 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 boop.
This has gone on way too long.
Sorry, that's
Yeah.
what a modem sounded like. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna know what you're
Uh,
getting for, but it didn't get there.
All right,
I don't
Max,
think-
just give it to us.
All right. We watched the wrong fucking episode. 2
Mm.
days ago. Video. Watch Diesel Brothers historic monster truck jump over flying airplane.
Why did we not?
I looked at the show description. It wasn't in one.
Stop the podcast.
Stop everything.
We gotta redo it all.
We need another addendum.
We didn't need. Well,
That is another dilemma, which is once you choose a show, this is more minutia about how we do the pod, is like picking an actual representative episode is a challenge.
It can be tough. Sometimes you misfire.
it's Rob. So
Yeah.
Brian and Noah were here.
They
and
were
They
here.
gave their ratings as well. Did you?
They did get some ratings.
Well-
So Noah, the recaps really got to him. So Noah gave it a top of the bottom. And Brian gave it a top of the middle, but was leading toward maybe he would put it in the bottom of the top. So Brian, I think, was kind of on your page, Chris.
Yeah.
And Noah was definitely the least enthused among us.
It is. Noah's not here, so he can't defend himself. But the Sunset Boulevard show versus this, just like I can't.
I think we need to recalibrate Noah's thirds.
Yeah.
I think it's no, it's a wild card. You never know what you're gonna get.
Does anyone have any updates they want to bring up here?
I have an update from the Internet Corner.
Do not do that.
Diesel Brothers Truck Building Simulator now available on Steam.
What? Yo, we have to
Oh.
play this and addendum this episode.
Do we gotta like live
That's our new
Twitch
thing
this
now. Season 4, it's all addendums.
Yeah, did we just mixer it?
So I have a question though before we get totally off the rails, but this is totally separate from the show. Which, well, sorry, I don't know why I said separate from the show. Anyways, I feel like there's an angle here where I kind of want to see them build all of the MTV challenges like in a show. Just make a show about how they're like building the like custom fabricated shit.
Mm.
I don't know if there's enough interest. And as I say this out loud, I'm now regretting
You're
it,
not
as
gonna
I
make
feel
any
like
money.
what's good about this is that they're doing the custom fabrication stuff, but in some form that a thing you like a truck or a bike. And so that's probably what makes it interesting.
They
But I'm
def-
curious if like we would find it interesting because we're into like MTV's The Challenge,
I don't think so.
or would it just be lame?
I think that so you want the challenge setup of the challenges. You want
Yeah.
like the behind the scenes. How do they test? How do they put together?
I want to see a show where like TJ is walking into a room full of producers. He's like, okay, this finale better be fucking crazy. What do you got for me? And then I want like pitches for the ideas. And then like they're building some samples and they're testing. They're like, I don't know, dude, it's not hard enough.
I think that like you'd want they probably don't do a lot of that. I'm going to tell you that much right now. But B, you probably want like just a documentary.
Right.
Like you don't want a show.
You want like an hour and a half long.
Have you seen that South Park documentary, 6 Days to
Oh.
Air?
No, is it good? Is it like
yeah.
along this?
It's all. I mean, it's not like setting up challenges or anything, but
No,
it's
no.
like how they make a TV show in 6 days, and
That
it's
sounds-
pretty compelling from like that perspective. And there's definitely like movie stuff where they're like go. There was like an HBO show about like somebody made like they would go through the whole process of making a movie,
Oh,
and they would
interesting.
make like, and you'd get to see the movie at the end. So like, I think that if you're looking, there's not so much reality show based on that. Like you want a reality show based on reality. Like I don't know, we're getting very meta
Stretching
there. So like I don't know. There's definitely content like that out there, but it tends to be way more serious
Mm.
and like would be probably more boring on a level that you're not really.
We just had that
expecting.
Game of Thrones documentary too. So we watch that, the behind the scenes on the Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. Maybe that'll cure that itch.
a little
Possible.
maybe. I've been watching a little Double Shot. Some sort of double
give us
shot.
that
at
double
love.
shot update.
The Double Shot update. Yeah, it's not getting really any better. It's
Oh.
like there's not enough Vinny Pauly. Like it's all about these women that are catty and annoying that I just don't care about.
So that's the thing. It's like if you want to watch Dinny,
Dinny.
DJ and Vinny antics, just watch Jersey Shore. Like, why are you watching this other show?
Well, because there's no Jersey Shore on right now. Okay,
I
I need
guess
my
that's true.
I need my fix.
But
That's fair.
but
And-
they
and-
also kind of tee the show up like it's like all about Vinny and Pauly D. So like if you're fans of those two, you're like, oh, it's their show now, and they're just trying to hook up with like on paper, it sounds like a good concept.
I think it is fine, but it's not good.
Mm.
As I think I went in, I think I gave it a middle third when we reviewed it.
I mean,
And
I can
and
check for
I
you.
think that was appropriate. Angelina did show up one episode, which was really good because she like was really abrasive, and a lot of the women just could not handle Angelina, and it was great.
Chris, I got news for you. Top third.
Ah, damn it!
Are
Uh,
you retracting?
No,
Okay.
I'm just giving an update.
What's higher in the top third? This or Diesel Brothers?
Oh, Diesel Brothers better. Yeah, I'd rather
Just,
watch.
just
Diesel.
trying to get a feel
I'd
out.
Like Diesel, yeah, that's your feel. That's what you get. Anyone else got any other updates? We done?
Started watching Chernobyl. It's good.
Looked good.
Would wreck.
I hear some people in this room watch some sort of 4DX movie.
Oh man.
If you want to give your
That's true. Was it
Oh.
me and Max are the two
Yeah.
that did it? So yeah,
Ooh.
so last weekend, me, Max, and some friends went to the local Regal to experience for the first time ever a 4DX movie. I got to tell you, I was very skeptical before this. I'm like, this seems silly. It's gonna be a bunch of extra money, and like for perspective, I am not a big fan traditionally of 3D movies. I just find that like I just want to go see a good movie, and I
Yeah.
don't necessarily need to be in the movie or like getting these extra things. So with that said, I got to tell you, 4D was quite the ride.
So
And I'm using that word very specifically. Max, like, what would you say here?
it's basically like the Disneyland theater experience. So like all of the seats move around, and you'll get like sort of stabbed in the shoulder when somebody gets stabbed in the movie, and they'll like shoot little wisps of air at you when a bullet goes by somebody's head. It sounds gimmicky. It is gimmicky. I wouldn't go to this often, but I think like once a year for John Wick 3 was great.
Yeah, I think there's something interesting with this, and I've had some conversation with folks since then, which is I think you have to choose the movie pretty wisely for this experience. Like, I don't think you want to go see a movie that you're really, really caring about the story or the plot or like really like invested in. Like, I don't think that this would be great for like a drama or something serious at all.
No.
Even like with that said, I don't think it'd be great for even like a comedy. Like, it feels to me like maybe like a Spider-Man movie or something where there's some kind of motion. Where you like lightly care about like plot and stuff, but you're mostly maybe like a lot of action and those types of
Some
things are
sort
gonna
of
be better.
You would say Godzilla movie, maybe?
Yeah, Godzilla might be fine. I
Godzilla.
think it like for me it was interesting because like I had recently just discovered John Wick or been told to rewatch it, so I watched 1 and 2 ahead of 3. And so then at that point I was like pretty into it. But I feel like with a John Wick movie, it's not like the plot is so deep that you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? You know what I mean?
You,
You're just
you
kind
think there's plot in a
watching.
Godzilla movie?
No, that's what I'm saying. So it's like for the movies that you can just kind of watch to experience, I think that this adds to it. And I was very questionable. Like, there's a bunch of stuff like that they list. So it could be light, bubbles, rain, smells, wind,
I heard there were no
thunderstorms,
smells.
all kinds of shit. What?
Were there smells?
There was a little bit of smells, very minimal smells, I'd say, in John Wick.
The
Yeah.
smell of blood.
There was no smell of blood, thankfully. I really wanted them to turn the smell of New York up though a little bit. So there's some New York scenes.
The garbage
And I
smell.
was really like missing. I'm like, it doesn't quite smell enough of the garbage.
I didn't smell anything.
You're used to it, Max.
Maybe.
I was hearing the description of the 4DX. Like, I do not like the idea of just being poked in the back constantly every time someone's stabbed in a John Wick movie.
See, that's the thing.
But
is
then
it's-
when you're talking about
yeah.
like a movie, you're not too much with the plot. You want to kind of go for a ride. Like, this sounds very appropriate for Fast and Furious movies.
yeah.
And like the new like the Rock spin-off one
That
coming.
Hobbs
Like,
and Shaw.
that feels like that's if you're gonna go see a movie in 4DX, like that's the movie.
you definitely like just want to go for like a fun ride type movie. You're just like hanging on, like seeing what's gonna happen. Like that's definitely what you're going for. I will say I was very skeptical, like you were, of like, oh, it's gonna be too much. I'm gonna get too wet. I don't think they overdid any one thing too much,
Yeah.
and there was enough spacing that you would even be like surprised, like, oh, I forgot that there was water again, or like whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It was a nice surprise.
All right, there you go. There you have it. You can find us on Twitter at @HoopWithUsOn. You can find us on Facebook.com/HoopWithUsOn. Email us questions and suggestions at hoopwithusOn@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.